Thank you so much for having us. First of all, I want to explain what DECA is. DECA is a student leadership organization that is associated with marketing, education, and business programs. And it actually is the largest leadership organization in the state of Washington. We're the third largest state organization in the nation with almost 12,000 members in this state. So for those schools that have DECA chapters in their school, get those kids involved in the health and fitness movement. So the one thing I also wanted to say was that, you know, this is the now generation. And they want things done now. So when we're looking at data and we see that the data states the high level of obesity and the effect that it has on our health, they don't want to set a policy in 2010 and then in 2012 and 13 we're still evaluating it. They want something done now. So that's kind of the movement that these kids did, was in developing this program. And we were fortunate enough to get a grant from Action for Healthy Kids. And in addition along with that grant, we got the opportunity to do some more work and have our big kickoff event, our FIT event, I guess as we call it. And that's kind of where we started. Most of the DECA chapters operate a student store, and that was, we also operate a student store. It's none of the kids in this particular group are the ones that work in the store, because that actually is a store operations class that they're involved in. So, but we knew that the nutrition policies have had a huge impact on fundraising, and that's where a lot of that fundraising for those clubs are coming from. So we really decided to take a proactive look at that, and we're going to look at the kickoff event, and then we're going to look at the changes that we've made in the student store, along with the rebranding process that enabled us to increase our sales and really have an impact on our population. So, if I can figure out how to work this thing. On the screens, you'll see just some of some pictures that we have from our kickoff event, which was on April 19th. Trojans Taking Charge, and we kind of got that from the Students Taking Charge program, but most of those things don't mention is at the high school level. And the high school level kids have a huge impact. My DECA kids have done so much work with middle schools and elementary schools when we were working with the CPPW grant. But what we found was a lot of those monies were not coming into the higher poverty schools, the ones that really needed the help. And that's why we decided to go ahead and write another grant, much smaller, but which helped us to be able to run our public relations campaign in our own school, which was so needed. So what is it? It's a peer-to-peer public relations campaign, and our focuses were on sustainable activities. We know that our kids don't have a lot of money. We have a very high, it's almost 65% free and reduced lunch rate. And we also know that they want to do things the easy way. So we needed to make sure that those activities were sustainable, that they were accessible, and that they were affordable. And then our launch activity was a big part of our planning. And then also to showcase, we have our nutrition, child nutrition, and our PE departments have been doing great things. But it's like with the other staff and students, it's like best kept secret, that they have made all of these wonderful changes in their programs. And those are the one thing that we want to do is make sure that we highlighted those programs and that we gave them the attention and the publicity they need, so people knew that there was these great things going on in the school. So just kind of some of the rationale we'll go through. Auburn is the most obese community in King County, and that's why this original kind of started. And nobody wants that reputation. And these kids, you know, that was one thing that we've got to do something about this, because unless we do, we're going to continue in that route and in that you know, the cycle of obesity. We all know what that is and the huge impact it has on our health, especially in later life. And the other problem we have is, even though that Auburn High School is a closed campus school, kids don't stay on campus. And we had this increasing problem. We needed to do something to enable them. We have Auburn Way, which is fast food alley, as we call it, which there are literally 36 different fast food restaurants right in a very short period of short distance. So it's easy for kids to sneak off campus and go get their fast food and come back that's not nutritious. So the objectives of our program were to, number one, to make it all school activities, and that's where our challenges come in. And these kids have seen firsthand, and when you hear them talk about it, you'll see their challenge is the staff. And a lot of you know that. A lot of you are PE teachers. a lot of child nutrition people, but those are not our challenges. Our campus is so spread out that literally I don't see some of the staff members unless we have an all-staff meeting. But those are also our biggest challenges in getting some of our programs to work, in that some of the academic teachers, some of the other teachers, they just don't understand the importance of nutrition on academics. And those were the challenges of not being able to participate in some of the programs that we were running, and putting that barrier up that didn't allow their students to also participate in some of the programs that we were trying to run. So also, I talked about this before, putting an emphasis on sustainable activities that were affordable and accessible, and be an inspiration and education, and then have sustainable activities that we could carry on. Sorry, my eyesight's not that good anymore, so I can't read this little thing. So we did do a lot of organization. We went through the basic projects that we would go through, the basic steps that we would go through in any project of public relation, of planning, organizing, implementing, and then also going back and reviewing and see, what worked, what didn't work. And you can see there's various things that we do, and again, this is a sustainable thing, so we have to be able to pass it along to, these are all juniors here, these gals are all juniors, and no, I teach boys too, they just don't happen to be here. So, but there's programs that we have to get that will operate no matter who's in those positions, if I'm gone, that keep going on. And let's face it, it has to be some fun things that we do in our school during lunches and before school and after school to help, make them a draw for kids. So on our 19th event, we did so many different types of media, and this was our big push, because marketing and public relations, that's a lot of what we do. We do a lot of different types of public relation campaigns during the school year. So these students are not only involved in public relations campaigns, but writing business plans and all those kind of good things. But this is definitely one of our favorite projects. And so I'm going to let them talk about the Trojans Taking Charge launch event on April 19th.
Okay, so to tell everybody about our event that we had on Friday, April 19th, we held posters, and they weren't only about our event, but about all the special activities we were having at our event. Our event started out, we had lunchtime activities where we had a marketing fair from farms and stuff. And then during fifth period, we had a keynote speaker from Eddie Williams, who is he used to play for the Seattle Seahawks, and then he plays for the Cleveland Browns right now. And he's trying to be a speaker to promote being healthy. And then we also had posters about our actual campaign, Trojans Taking Charge, and we held them all over our community and our school. And we also, in our classes, we have 6 classes of intro DECA classes, then we have the intermediate DECA classes, and then advanced DECA classes. And in each of our classes, we were able to make posters that we hung up to. I'm next.
Okay, our press release. This event just wasn't for our school. We wanted to make it a community event and see how big we could. So our press release went out to everybody. We tried to get as many people as we could there at Auburn High School on the 19th to see what we were doing. Because it wasn't just something that hit home in our school, but this was a community thing. This is something we wanted to bring us all together. So with our press release, we was able to get our information out there. Our setup, as you can see, I did some balloons. It was a process setting up for this kind of stuff. It didn't come easy. It took a lot of hard work and preparation, but it all paid off in the end. Our setup was fun. We were able to work together. We had a great booth that really brought kids attention, so they would come up and see what was happening. So we made sure it was something eye-catching to bring the kids in. I'm staff? Okay, I'm staff. Staff, as Ms. Jacobs was saying, it's easy to get our kids hooked on something because they just want to be involved. It was the staff that we kind of have to nudge and push at. So it was It was getting our staff, as you see, every staff member that participated, they got a gray shirt. So it was not just using incentives for students, but incentives for teachers as well, to get them involved. They like things too. So it was getting our staff involved too. It was a big community event. I mean, not just our students, but our staff. This was something we wanted to make an impact, and it only works if you get your staff involved so they can get excited about it, and that makes our students even more excited about it.
We have a really good culinary arts class here at Auburn High School, and they came out and they had a booth set up in the PAC lobby during lunch, and they had, because a lot of people don't really know about our culinary arts program besides the ones that maybe go to the Auburn Cafe on occasion, so they just had a little sign outside, and they had some of the healthy options that they make in their culinary arts class for students to sample. And for the farm to school, we had Mosby Farms, and I think it's in Green Valley Road, settled on Green Valley Road, and they came down, and what people mostly don't know is that we actually have had fruit from Mosby Farms in our cafeteria for a very long time, but nobody really knew about it. So they came out and they put fresh fruit out that was really good, and a lot of students and my friends went to go try it, and they just raved about it, and they thought it was really cool that they did that.
So some more lunch activities that we did was me and Lexi set up a booth, and we were handing out smoothie recipes, like healthy options for smoothies. And our DECA store actually went around and passed out smoothie samples. And what we did during class is we called a bunch of businesses and tried to get people to come by and set up booths. And the businesses that ended up setting up booths were Costco, YMCA, Terra Organics, Mosby Farms, and then our culinary arts also had a booth. And all the booths kind of had like fitness incentives. Like at the YMCA booth, they were giving out like little coupons for like a week free at the gym. And Mosby Farms and the Terra Organics were handing out like vegetables and fruits. And culinary arts was, like she said, also handing out food samples. And yeah.
One more. Okay, our keynote speaker. This was an assembly. After our lunch, we have fifth period. So this is where we had our students come into our PAC, which is our Performing Arts Center, and we welcomed them, kind of explained to them what we were doing. So we had a set agenda. Our Healthy Wise Washington video, 2 of our students won a $3,000 grant for making a video about eating healthy. So that was really cool. And then we had our keynote speaker, and along with that, we had our CrossFit video done by our lovely Jessica Hansen, our PE teacher. And so, yes, shout out to Miss Hansen. So we have a video. I don't know if we're gonna play it or. No, I don't think we're gonna have time. I don't think we're gonna have time, but it's a really good video about why CrossFit is an amazing thing to do.
Wait, what?
Okay, for our keynote speaker, as I said, it was Eddie Williams, a former Seahawks player and now plays for the Cleveland Browns. But he came and gave a very inspirational speech to like about 400 to 500 students who were able to come during their fifth period. It filled our entire PAC, and he talked about, like, he had magazines that he showed off, and he was like, everybody wants to look like the people on these covers of these magazines, but they push themselves to be unhealthy doing that. You have to be healthy and not be influenced by these fake models because they're not real. And so he gave a very inspirational speech during our fifth period, and we were lucky enough to get to know him, and he gave some interviews for the news and stuff like that.
And then after the keynote speaker during sixth period, we had workshops set up around the school, like in the gyms and stuff, like the Tacoma Athletic Club, the YMCA, Sumner CrossFit, and Champions Edge. And they just shared more knowledge on like fitness and different ways kids can exercise.
Some of the other programs that we did that we're still working on is we're working on some highlights on all of our sports programs. And so what we've done is we've taken each of the the sports programs and taken the head coach and did kind of a profile on them, but also did what the impact, what the benefits of that particular sport are. And what we're going to do is display these on this huge bulletin board by season, so that when kids come in to register or sign up for sports, that they can kind of see, this is the benefit for this sport, or this is the benefit. And the same with our PE classes. We've got such great PE classes, and they talked a little bit about the CrossFit competition that we did that's really organized by Ms. Hansen here. She doesn't like to get attention, but also just so that kids can match up. Kids just sign up for PE. They don't know what all of the different classes are and the specific benefits that they have, and what they're trying to accomplish in their fitness. And so just really making them aware so that they can match those up with, what they're trying to accomplish. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about the DECA store, which we rebranded this year. It's called DECA Fresh. And what we did with the CPPW grant is we bought a new smoothie machine. So we make 100% fruit smoothies, but we also did a little bit, we did some research from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and looked at some of the different environmental type things. So we bought the little mini coolers, and in the mini coolers we put all healthy food items and set them right in the front. And we've got two of them, one in the back location, one in the front location. And in them we have yogurt parfaits and yogurt and hummus and salads and those types of things. So and we've also gone to a lot of smaller serving sizes, which like the 8 and the 10 ounce drinks instead of the 12 and the 16 and the 20 ounce drinks. And so we've really started fruit baskets. We do like seasonal type fruit stuff, bananas, apples, and then some seasonal fruits that we set right on the counters in front. And yes, there are still some of the unhealthier things, but we've made that change to the whole grain Otis cookies with the dark chocolate instead of, the full fat ones. But we also don't sell them in bags of 3 like they do in a lot of schools. We sell them individually. So, just moving that direction, and we continue to make changes all the time. We're now offering a lot of the lower sodium soups that we serve daily, and let me go through. She just gave me the mark. But just kind of want to show you some of the media that we've done around it, just some of the signage around the schools, just really highlighting some of the new things that we sell. And this is a competitive food venue, and there's a lot of discussion about competitive food. But I really think that if we be proactive, that you'll see some good positive changes. And we went through some, really rugged years after we pulled out some of the soda and those types of things. And but we do a lot of things. We do table service now, so we will actually go out and really, there's times that we'll focus and say, okay, you go out there and you sell smoothies, and we've got little cards that we'll hand out with all of the health benefits of the fruit smoothies on them. We do these little DECA Fresh. You'll see the aprons that all of the kids that do table service wear out in the PAC lobby when they're doing table service, and it's just been a really positive move for us. Do some direct marketing through Facebook and Twitter, and yes, texting, and yes, kids do look at their phone during the school day. So here's a promotion for our smoothies, just really making it appealing and really sticking with some, bright, exciting colors to gain the attention. But, we've had a lot of success. Our store sales, at one point, right at the beginning of the school years, our store sales were up about 36% over last year, just from making those changes. And now it's dropped off a little bit, but we're still about 26% up over the year. So there is the positive impact to be made, and I think we're moving in the right direction, and just really listening to your customers. And I mean, there's kids out there that aren't getting the good, fresh fruit, vegetables that they really want. And just to emphasize a few things that we're working on in the future is we are doing a big Auburn Kids Day is on the last day of school. And we will do it, but it's a huge impact. About 10,000 elementary age kids come to that event, and we are doing a booth at that event. We've done it in the past before, and it's just amazing. It's so great to interact with those kids. We always enjoy going down to the middle schools. We've gone down to Washington Middle School and helped with field days, but we really want to it's so great, and the peer-to-peer teaching programs make such an impact on those younger kids. They love to just, no matter what it is. Maggie and they've been dressed up as carrots and apples and oranges and down at the elementary schools. So, and then we're looking at a big 5K opportunity and event in the fall to kind of launch the school year and really get some motivation started there. So thank you so much for your time, and I know that we're out of time, so.
So I have a, wow, sorry, that was loud. I have a question about implementing all the changes in your store. How was the cost of that? How did that work out? Did you need increased like grants or funds, or were you able to do that in a pretty equal, cost-effective way? Because that's always an argument.
There's really some things that you can do, and I encourage you, if you are a competitive food site, to one of the other schools that I just heard about it's true, and we've been working with Costco. We are just about to go down again for the second time, and we've developed a whole list of competitive food pricing. Right now, you can find the one that we did originally on the Washington DECA website, but basically what it is, it's a list of, we go through Costco business delivery, and it's a list of all of the items that they carry, and the healthy items by size, by price, and in getting kind of nudge them and work with them. But they've been a great resource for us, and we're just getting ready to go down and update that list, to make it available to student stores and people for fundraising, type activities, so that they can pull up that list and say, okay, here's the profit that I can make on this, and suggested retail type prices. But you can go through your culinary arts programs, and maybe they want to, we find that more beneficial and more cost effective for culinary arts to make salads for us to sell out of the student store. And believe it or not, sometimes they can sell them, we can sell them better in the student store than they can from the culinary department. And it's just, it's all that perception of, it's a little bit cooler or something. I'm not quite sure what that is, but that's more affordable, and it's unfortunate that the healthy food costs more, but I think that there's ways and strategies that you can use around that. And one of them is we have raised some of the prices on our unhealthier food to compensate for that amount, but we've also been able to offset the costs of some of those healthy foods in some ways. And it takes a lot. If you've tried to sell a lot of the healthier foods, that you go through a period where you just, figure out what's right for your population, and you go through a lot of spoilage. I mean, it's just, that's the way that things happen, so.
Okay, well, let's give them a hand. Thank you, ladies.